Paris, the city of light, the city of love, and a city we're visiting for 48 hours. There is so much to see. The Eiffel Tower, the Seine, the Arc de Triomphe, Notre Dame, and so much more. If you don't know us, I'm Rachel, he's Wilde, and we are Postcard and a Pint, and we're about to embark on this epic adventure to find out just what you can fit into 48 hours in Paris. Off you go. Well, first, you've got to get there. We flew with EasyJet from Manchester. Then it was time to sort out our travel card for the next few days. Having looked on the machines, we quickly realised that the week-long photo card All Zones Navigo Pass would be the best value. Mugshots done, a very nice lady got us all sorted. Give us the prices, Rach.
For a 5-day pass out of the machine was €74. It's well worth getting your passport photo done, getting a 5-day Navigo Pass, which is only €30. It's €5 for the card, so we paid 35 for the same price as one pass. We've got two, and we can top it up next time we come to Paris.
We've also got to shout out the Bonjour RATP app. It can plan all your journeys, tell you which station is closest. It was an absolute essential for us on this trip. All we've got to do now is find the hotel, dump our bags, and then we're free to explore Paris. Google Maps was very useful at this point, and before we knew it, we found it. Let the adventures begin.
As journeys go, that was alright, wasn't bad at all. We've checked into the hotel, but we're going to show you that later in the video. We've now stopped for some food before heading off to the Arc de Triomphe.
All of a sudden, Wills was feeling very French.
Rachel ordered the pizza, I ordered the chicken with rice in coconut sauce. But when it came, it was kind of chicken on the bone and a bit slidey and a bit underdone. Well, I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to me meat, so we've swapped. Well, I've got the pizza. Cool.
Then he wasn't. I hope you enjoyed my pizza. Then it was back to the metro to head to our first destination. We're going to tot up as we go to see the savings you can make with the Navigo Pass. We found the transport system in Paris really efficient, and this was 2 weeks before Bedbug Gate, so we were blissfully ignorant of those. And our first stop, the Arc de Triomphe. Now, thanks to using Booking.com a lot, they'd given us a voucher, and that voucher paid for this visit for both of us. The Arc de Triomphe honours those who fought and died for France in the French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars. If you've the legs for it, it's possible to climb to the top. How many steps are the Wills?
There's 284 steps, don't you know?
There certainly are, and we're not going to lie, it was a tough climb. There is a small display showing the history of the Arc, and then after a few more steps, you reach the top and phenomenal views of Paris. Breathtaking. The Arc was commissioned by Napoleon.
Back in the early 1800s, fighting was going really well for Napoleon, and he said to his soldiers, "Soldiers, I am pleased with you. I will bring you back to France, and there I will build you an object of my most tenderest attentions." And he commissioned this.
A stunning memorial indeed, but it is a pretty rubbish roundabout. Until 1938, the Arc de Triomphe was the tallest triumphal arch in the world. Mexico City and then Pyongyang completed higher ones. Not to be outdone, the French then whipped up La Défense. It might be taller, but sorry, it's ugly. Then down we went, through the obligatory gift shop. Ooh, she looks cross. She's probably just climbed the stairs. There are 660 names inscribed under the arch, most of them generals who served during the French First Republic. Under the arch lies the tomb of the unknown soldier. He represents all those who perished and were never identified in both world wars. An eternal flame burns in memory. Stairs aside, we had really enjoyed our visit here and would highly recommend it. The Arc de Triomphe de l'Étoile is stunning, but it's still a rubbish roundabout. From on top of the Arc de Triomphe and its 284 steps, yep, we're still banging on about it, we'd seen the Eiffel Tower and decided to walk there. Google Maps reckoned it was a 30-minute walk, and on the way we found this beautiful church. This is Saint-Pierre de Chaillot. It's a Roman Catholic church that dates back to the 11th century. The present building is from the 1930s, and it was calm and peaceful. But we've a tower to find, so let's get a move on. There it is, the most famous landmark in Paris, the Eiffel Tower. Paris is said to be one of the most romantic cities in the world, and you can see why. Later this evening, we're taking a river cruise too. We hadn't booked to go up the tower this time, but we did wander all around it. The Eiffel Tower was designed by Gustave Eiffel for the World Fair of 1889. Although initially criticised by some of France's leading artists and intellectuals for its design, it is now the most visited monument with an entrance fee in the world. So what did they know? We now needed a sit down and a drink after all that walking. We found a beautiful boat, bar and restaurant and took a well-earned break. How's life, Wills?
We sat by the river. The Eiffel Tower's just there. We're waiting to go on the boat trip in a minute. We've got a beer. What a great afternoon. Cheers.
Cheers indeed. For a quick drink stop, we highly recommend the rooftop bar at Francette. Underneath Francette was the boarding point for our Seine cruise. We'd booked through the app Get Your Guide and had gone for a cruise that started and finished by the Eiffel Tower, for no other reason than we thought we'd have more chance of finding it. The price was £35 for both of us, and it was a cruise with optional drinks. Of course we did. We'd gone for the 6 p.m. cruise to catch the magic light. Cheers! Having seen the massive packed boats of the more famous companies, we were so glad to be travelling on this smaller boat, courtesy of Vedette de Paris. There was a commentary in English and French throughout the trip, and we enjoyed learning a bit along the way. This is poor old Notre Dame. In April 2019, it caught fire and sustained serious damage, but we'll visit that later in this video. There are so many bridges spanning the Seine, each with its own style and monuments. There are some who travel in tiny boats and some who prefer the big famous name cruises. This cruise had really whetted our appetites for this area of Paris, and we decided that a walk along the Seine would be on the cards for our last morning here. How was that then?
We've just done the river tour and it was ace.
It was great.
And now we're going to the Place de Concorde.
Ooh.
Yes, even though we'd been up since 4 a.m, we still had one more sight left in us. Back on the trains, and look, we'd have already spent €15.20 and we've only been here half a day. Navigo Pass all the way. The Place de la Concorde is the largest square in Paris. It was the site of many notable public executions, including King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. Today, it's housing the village for the Rugby World Cup, and there are some pretty posh events going on. That's right, riffraff, cross the road into the not-so-posh bit. In all honesty, we only went in because Wills needed a wee. Tell us what's happening, Rach.
We're in the Place de Concorde, where they used to chop people's heads off by the guillotine. Now it's the Rugby World Cup village, and Wales are doing okay.
As we make this video, they're still in the competition and play in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Come on, boys! There was a band playing in front of the famous obelisk. We think they were called Madeleine Keys. They were pretty good, and what a stage. It was just a shame there was no one there to watch them. By now our body clocks were all over the place and we were starving.
Can't hear a word. Got smash burger and chips. Ace!
It was, but we were now shattered, so it was home to bed. Night-night. Morning! Let's hop over the road from our hotel to Morrison for breakfast.
It's day 2 in Paris. We're ready to hit the sights. What better way to start the day than with a French coffee? It's delicious.
Yes, we'd opted against paying for breakfast at our hotel. We went to Morrison for coffee.
And a bagel.
And delicious they were too.
Hello, welcome to Maurice Bagels.
Best breakfast in Paris.
Well, we think so anyway. Now, we probably could have walked, but we started the day with a train. It was a very short ride. Now, where are you off to today?
Stop 1 of the day, the cemetery of Pere Lachaise.
A very famous cemetery in Paris. This is the largest cemetery in Paris, but
When you do come here, don't be put off by the size of it at all. It's a bit overwhelming when you first come in because it's massive, but it's all laid out in like gridded areas that have all got a number, and then there's brilliant signs that give you the actual grave numbers and locations, and there's a QR code where you can download them up to your phone so you won't get lost as you walk around.
it's the most visited necropolis in the world, as there are quite a few famous inmates here.
This is the grave of Oscar Wilde, an Irish poet and playwright. In the early 1890s, he was one of the most famous playwrights in London.
He wrote two of my favourite children's stories, The Happy Prince and The Selfish Giant. A glass barrier has now been erected around the grave, so the stones are no longer kissed by admirers. It is such a fascinating place to visit.
This is the grave of Edith Piaf. She was a French singer born in 1915 and best known for singing songs in the cabaret. She had a really interesting life.
Piaf's mother abandoned her at birth. She was brought up by her grandmother, who ran a brothel in Normandy. She began touring with her father in the cabaret aged just 14, one of her most famous songs being Non, je ne regrette rien. You can easily lose hours here, as it's so fascinating.
This is the grave of Marcell Marceau, the famous French mime artist born in 1925. I've always been a huge fan of the art form of mime. The ability to entertain people and make people understand, make them laugh, but without language. It's amazing.
It really is. There are so many famous graves here. We also visited the grave of Frédéric Chopin, the Polish composer, and the grave of Moliere, the French actor, director and writer. The most popular grave, though, and one we had to visit, is that of Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison was an American singer-songwriter and lead vocalist of the rock band The Doors. He was heavily alcohol dependent and died suddenly here in Paris, aged just 27. As well as leaving beer, visitors often stick chewing gum on this tree as a sign of independence and flouting authority. Pere Lachaise is well worth a visit, and we could have happily spent more time here. But we've only got 48 hours in Paris, so it's time to move on. Back to the train we go.
That graveyard was so cool. We could have spent another couple of hours at least in there. But moving on, got to fit as much as we can. We're off to the Sacre Ceur.
Not a bedbug in sight, and before long we were in Montmartre. This has to be one of the prettiest and most touristy areas of Paris. Is that Mickey? Go away, you're not on till next week's vlog. Now there's a funicular that can take you up to the Sacre Ceur, or you can walk 270 steps. We're going to take the funicular, aren't we, Wills?
We're about to climb the steps up to Le Butte. Why are there always so many steps?
That's a no then. Another day, another staircase. Let's get cracking. As you climb ever higher, the Sacre Ceur looks ever more impressive and the views across the city open up. We made it! And we had a good sit down on the steps to admire the view. Go on, give us some Sacre Ceur facts, Rach.
The Sacre Ceur is a Roman Catholic church here in Paris. It is dedicated to the heart of Jesus, and it was begun in 1875, and it's the second most popular tourist destination here in Paris after the Eiffel Tower.
Thanks very much. Are you going in?
We're not going to go in it today. There's only so many tourist attractions you can do while you're in Paris for a short time. We came up here for the view, but what we really want to see is Montmartre. We love the area, so we're going to head there next.
It's just a short stroll to the Place du Tertre. On the way, we saw these dogs. I called them Crepey, JP and Rapey. Enough of that. Now, moving on. Place du Tertre is a very famous square in Montmartre. From the end of the 18th century until World War I, it was the place for the bohemians, the painters, songwriters and poets. Today it's full of artists setting up easels for the tourists and loads of picturesque cafes and bars. Of course we did.
Just stopped for a little refresher. Cheers.
We enjoyed just sitting and people watching from our table outside Au Clarion des Chasseurs. We then had a wander around admiring all the talented artists' work. It was a very pleasant way to while away an hour, a beer and an amble. This area is pricey, but it wasn't as extortionate as we'd been expecting. Loving it. As much as we love this area, do note that it's a hotbed of scam artists and pickpockets. Never enter into a betting game with anyone. Just enjoy the picturesque streets and Frenchness of it all. Next, we're off in search of windmills. Now that one's nice, but it's the wrong colour. We walked down La Butte, which is a lot more pleasant than walking up. Even here, locals sit and admire the view. This is the Petit Moulin, or small mill, but this isn't what we want either. We love the cobbled streets of this area and the beautifully decorated shops. Cheese! Yes, please. Ah, there it is, the Moulin Rouge, the famous cabaret venue. A long time ago, we visited the Moulin Rouge, had dinner and saw the show. It was such a memorable experience. Sadly, it was well before vlogging days. Maybe we'll do it again in future. But it was time to move on as we had another activity booked for the afternoon. Back on the train you go and sum up Montmartre if you would.
Montmartre was stunning. Then we walked down a different way down the hill, saw the Moulin Rouge, which is always fun, and now we're off on a train to go and see the Catacombs, which we've never done before. Really looking forward to it.
Are you flagging, Rach? No? Lovely. There's a lot more walking to be done yet. To the Catacombs we go. Do book this experience online as you can't always get in on the day. You descend into the depths of Paris. These narrow tunnels and passageways date back to the 13th century when they were used to mine the limestone that helped build the city. How do you feel?
We're in the Catacombs. It's spooky down here.
In the late 18th century, the cemeteries of Paris were so full that the smell of rotting bodies had become unbearable. Then, with heavy rains in 1780, the oversaturated ground caused cellar collapses in the old mines, under cemeteries. This resulted in bodies being disturbed, and disease broke out. To solve both issues, 6 million late Parisians were transported to this site. Priests accompanied the remains during transport, and it was usually done at night. There is only a small section of the vast network of tunnels under Paris open to the public. The bones have now been laid as works of art, and it's an ossuary like no other. Most of the bones here were already centuries old when they were transported. This site was used as a burial site during the French Revolution, all the way up until 1860. Only 200 people are allowed inside at one time, so it's never crowded or busy. It's macabre, gruesome, horrific, yet fascinating. And as always, you exit through the gift shop.
We're now heading over to Tour Mont Parnasse to watch the sunset. There claims to be some hold up on the rail line.
So we're walking.
We are walking. It's going to take us 26 minutes.
Hopefully.
We'll enjoy the sights of Paris on the way.
So after praising the transport system to the skies, we've hit our first hitch. Our Navigo pass also extends to buses, but we just don't know the city well enough yet. We'd get lost. Ooh, this looks nice. I think a drink's in order.
Ooh, that was a lovely walk, about a 25-minute walk. Thought we'd treat ourselves before we go up the tower. Cheers!
This was such a beautiful and colourful area of the city, and cafes spilled out onto the pavements. We'd been told by a friend, cheers Chris, and read online that this was the place to go for sunset. We'd booked our tickets online, and before too long, where were we?
We're at the top of the tower.
What a view. There's a cafe, Christmas decorations, standard, and a stunning view. But for the best views, head up a few stairs to the rooftop deck.
Just the way I always wanted.
The weather was now perfect, and we were in for a sunset and a half. That was perfect. We now felt like we had a slightly better understanding of the geography of Paris, and it was fun picking out the landmarks. Then it was back on the train, and we were hungry after all that exploring.
We're back near the hotel. That took a while. Oh God, it was busy.
Yeah, one of the lines is down and it was absolutely ram-jam, but we're back
But
now.
never mind, we got here and we're off to find some food.
Yeah, lovely.
There are so many restaurants in this area of Nation. We wanted French, and Wills had been warned not to order chicken this time. St. Louis looked perfect. There was a great menu, but as it was late, we just went for salad, and it was absolutely delicious. Thanks, St. Louis, and now to bed. Morning, it's time for a hotel review.
This time we chose to stay in the Hotel Patio Bastille in the 11th district. Now it's not super posh, it's the best we could afford nearest the centre. Bed, super comfy, bathroom, clean, the shower's really good, it's got everything we need. We didn't choose breakfast, but there's a great bagel shop right over the road. The best thing about this hotel though is its proximity to Metro and overground trains. We could get here from the airport by just changing once, we could get to Disney direct. There's like 4 lines that run through it and the RER trains as well, which means we can get anywhere.
Thanks, Rach. Now it's your last few hours in Paris. Let's get that walk by the Seine sorted. We took the metro to the Louvre, admired its beautiful architecture, and admired even more what a beautiful day it was without a cloud in the sky. Where are you?
We're at the Louvre, but we ain't got time to go in it today, but it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Last time we were here, it was closed.
Oh yeah, Mondays.
Another day, we will go in.
I've got to say, chaps, you're now looking refreshed and rested for 2 people who've averaged 30,000 steps a day. Yes, enough of the Louvre, you're not going in. Get yourselves across the road to the river. Thank you. Are you enjoying your last morning?
What an absolutely gorgeous last morning in Paris. The weather is the best it's been yet, and we're strolling along the Seine.
Gotta go home later though.
This really was the icing on the cake and the perfect way to end our time in Paris. We walked all the way up to Ile de la Cité. We loved these pop-up stalls they have all along the Seine. We then crossed over the river and decided to have a closer look at Notre Dame. The bells! Shut up. Notre Dame, meaning Our Lady, is an iconic building in Paris. It was started in 1163 and completed in 1260. It suffered extensive damage many times, most recently in 2019. In 1831, the Victor Hugo novel, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, inspired new interest in the cathedral. We sincerely hope it's open again soon. The bells! Will you shut up? We then left the island on the other side and started our walk back along the Seine. What we wanted to find was a cafe boat and have a baguette for lunch before we went to the airport. We saw bridges, museums, lots of people working out, but not a baguette in sight. It was quite disappointing. By this time we were almost back by the Eiffel Tower, so thought we'd try one of the boats from day one. Sadly, these were too posh for the humble baguette, so we got a drink and prepared to do our sum up. Hold it! Yeah, something like that. This was going to be the end of the video, but in true postcard and a pint style, the journey home was not without calamity. It all started when the train stopped 4 stations short of the airport, and there were no more. We were in a village. There were no taxis, no Ubers, and a 20-minute walk to the bus. It was all going so well. After asking a long line of people, it turned out Bolt had cars here, so I downloaded it.
We managed to get a taxi through an app called Bolt. No idea. Well done, Rachel.
The lovely Kamal turned up and raced us and our new Irish friends, Paul and Martina, towards the airport.
We're at the airport. Just hope we can check in. Hope we're not too late.
EasyJet pulled us out of the line and we made it.
We're through security finally, and we finally got a baguette just on the way home. So what we're going to do now, it's been a bit of a nightmare, but it's been fine. Hopefully the flight will be on time. We're now going to cut back to how this video should have finished, with Rachel and Wills enjoying a glass of wine and a lovely time on the Seine. Well, it doesn't get much better than this. Here we are, sat next to one of the most picturesque bridges on the Seine.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's at Alexander III Bridge, having a beautiful drink. What an amazing couple of days.
It's been fantastic,
We've
isn't it?
basically had 48 hours in Paris.
One full day and a morning and an afternoon.
And an afternoon. It's just been absolutely brilliant. I can't believe what we've done.
Done loads
We've
of
done
stuff.
so much stuff. I think one of my favourite bits has been, I don't know, the drink on the Seine, the cruise on the Seine was absolutely beautiful.
That was lovely. It was also good. The walking's been amazing. The catacombs was fun.
The catacombs. I love the Mont Parnasse Tower. I love the Arc de Triomphe. Didn't like the steps quite so much.
They hurt.
They hurt.
Our legs are killing us.
Our feet and our legs are absolutely killing us. But I have to say, Paris for me was never really a city I would consider my favourite.
We've been before though,
We've been before, never was up there. It's popped straight back up my list now.
We want
wanna
to come back. There's so much more to see.
Navigo Pass, cannot say highly enough of that. We've been here, there and everywhere on that.
Transport on the whole's been good.
It's been good. There's been a few line cancellations today, but on the whole you can still get where you wanted to go, and it's been lovely seeing Ella, but you'll see that on another video.
Oh yeah, we went to Disneyland.
We went to Disney. The reason we came here is to see my niece, but that's another video coming up soon.
Next week.
So if you'd like this video,
if you could hit that like button, do the subscribe thing and all that, we would love it.
Have you been to Paris? Have we missed out? Well, we've missed out loads.
We've missed out tons of it.
Because there's loads to do, but we're going to come back.
Just means we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, and as we say, in
Postcard in the Mind. Cheers to the good times. I just saw a man jump in this river.
Did you?
Yeah, I think it was insane.
Oh.